Hey everybody, it's Blue Flame back at it again. Got another video for you guys. I know it's been a minute, but here we are. The Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls game has been recently announced, and this is my wish list for characters that I want in the game, and maybe even a mechanic that I might want to introduce to the game. Interesting. You guys will find out in a minute. But let's go over the confirmed characters we have so far. So we've got Iron Man, Captain America, Storm, Doctor Doom, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, and Ms. Marvel. Those are all confirmed characters you saw in the trailer. That's a great start. It gives us an idea of how different they're gonna go with some of these characters. So without further ado, here's my wish list for the characters and maybe even a mechanic that I'll talk to you about for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Alright, first up we gotta go with the teams, okay? I'm gonna go for teams first. Full teams, that includes all the characters that are in these teams. That is obviously the Fantastic Four first. You know, we gotta get the Fantastic Four in this game. It would be nice because they're a pretty well-rounded team. It would be nice to see them, each member, be in the game. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now. The mechanic that I'm thinking of is kind of a, what's it called? Like a synchronicity, a synergy mechanic, where characters that are either already in a formed team or characters that have certain abilities that kind of coincide with each other, that would be kind of a nice way to get bonuses in the game. Like maybe there's a slight damage boost, or there's a slight energy boost. You can get like a boost to your meter or something like that. Just a couple of ideas, you know, just a couple of little things that they could do to kind of like add to the overall flexibility of the game. But my next team would be the Defenders. These guys have not been in a single fighting game. I think maybe Iron Fist has been in Marvel 3, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I don't remember Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or even Daredevil being in any of the other fighting games. So it'd be nice to see the entire Defenders cast in the game. My next team is the Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, we already got Star-Lord confirmed. It would be nice to see Rocket and Groot with Gamora and Drax. Maybe even Mantis would be nice. That'd be dope too. Let's see. We got Thunderbolts next. Not everybody in this image. Probably more specifically Red Guardian, US Agent, and Bucky. I get it, those are all pretty much Captain America clones, but you know, it's nice to, it'll be nice to see, you know, the variety that we can get from that. Next would be the Agents of Smash. Yeah, y'all wasn't expecting me to dive this deep now, were y'all? So of course we've got A-Bomb, Scar, Red Hulk, She-Hulk, and Incredible Hulk. I figured since we're doing a team, like this is all a team thing, I figured it'd be nice to have Hulk's team get in on this, because I wanted to just include Hulk as a character at first by himself, but then I thought about it and I was like, wait a minute, he has an entire team of other Hulks that he can bring with him. So it'd be nice to have, you know, all of them come together and they can fight. They can fight as a team. They can fight with other people. It'd actually be pretty interesting. None of the other characters I think have ever been in a fighting game. I think just regular Hulk, like the Incredible Hulk and She-Hulk, have been in a fighting game. All the other characters haven't. So it'd be nice to see them. And then, okay, so we have X-Men. Since there's so many X-Men characters, I figured I'd just narrow it down to specific X-Men characters. Now, the top row, the very top row, is all characters that have already been in fighting games before. So we've got Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and then Psylocke, Rogue, and Gambit. They have all been in the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise. I would love to see Nightcrawler, especially since we've gotten footage of Doctor Doom kind of doing a teleport thing. I think if Doctor Doom can teleport, we can get a teleporting character like Nightcrawler in the game. I think that'd be great. And we got Colossus, of course. There's no X-Men without Colossus. It'd be nice to have more strong guys in the game. And then we have Bishop. I think with Bishop, it would be pretty cool because since he absorbs kinetic energy and reflects it back, and he can kind of like control how much he reflects back, I think that would be a very cool power to see in the game. You can take in whatever projectiles gets thrown at you, absorb it, and then throw it back, and you can kind of use that. I think that would be a fun little control scheme mechanic that Bishop could have that not any other character would necessarily have. I think that'd be cool. We got X-Force. Now, this was essentially my excuse to have Deadpool and Domino in the game, and also Cable, to put them all on a team. So any one of these members is fair game, but I specifically, of course, you know, Deadpool, Domino, Phantom X, Shatterstar, Cable, Deathlock, Forge, Archangel. The specific members that I care about the most, though, are Deadpool, Domino, and Cable. Everybody else is kind of optional. It would be nice to have Domino with her her probability power. You being able to kind of like imagine like you could throughout the game, it's at random. Like throughout the game, she can control probability. So the odds of her hitbox actually getting hit can vary depending on the game, and like her ultimate could be like she's invincible for like the next 10 seconds, or her ultimate could be she parries the next 5 moves, something like that, you know, something tied to her specific power. Cable, obviously, he's had fighting game experience, and so has Deadpool, but they're both staples, I think, in Marvel. They're both household names in Marvel, so I think it'd be nice to see both of them. Forge is like an honorable mention for me, just because Forge is pretty cool. He can create weapons out of anything. He can create anything out of anything. So I think it'd be pretty cool to just have him kind of just out of nowhere taking pieces of the stage and forging them into his own weapons throughout the game. That might be a little too much to ask for, but it is what it is. And then Archangel, just so that we could kind of have a variety, you know, a couple more flying characters couldn't hurt. Web Warriors. Obviously, we're gonna have main Spider-Man in the game, but I want some of his buddies to come along for the ride. So, of course, Scarlet Spider, Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman to be specific, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2099, Agent Venom, Spider-Ham, and Spider-Man Noir. Any one of these, as long as any one of these are in the game, I'd be happy. I'd be very happy. I highly doubt we're gonna get all of these characters, but I'd be extremely happy if we get any one of these characters. Spider-Ham would be a perfect joke character. He's kind of got cartoon powers, so it would be nice to see a character in a Marvel fighting game kind of have just cartoon powers. He could just pull things out of a bag and just random chaos happens. So that'd be pretty dope. We've got the Armored Squadron. Now, this isn't an official Marvel team, I don't think. There was the Armor Wars storyline in the comics, but I really just wanted to have a team of Iron Man characters that were not specifically Iron Man. So we've got War Machine, Ironheart, Rescue, and Hulkbuster. And I know Hulkbuster is Iron Man, but I didn't want to have just 3 armors. I wanted to have like at least a variety of different armors that did different things and were tuned to different specs. So that would be very nice. Ironheart, I could imagine her being more of a like speedy, like a faster type of character, like a Rushdown, and then War Machine would be more like a tanky, not really tank, but it's kind of like a mix between tank and zoning. And then for Hulkbuster would be tank and close quarters, and then Rescue would kind of be kind of like an all-around, more agile type character. So, you know, different ideas. Of course, we've got to have Thor in the game. I know we've got Storm, and she has electrical powers, but Thor has Mjolnir, and with Mjolnir, it adds a little bit of a different aesthetic. Thor himself has kind of that imposing figure, that imposing build, those looks. I think it'd be very interesting to have him in the game. And then we have the Punisher, of course. The Punisher is super dope. I think having the Punisher in the game would have a lot of variety, especially with different weapons. He'd be kind of like a gun. He'd be more like a zoning type of character, which I think would be perfect for somebody of his caliber. And then we got Doctor Strange, of course. We've got Doctor Doom already in there. We can give magic characters their you know, day in the spotlight, if you will. And so I definitely want Doctor Strange to be in the game. Scarlet Witch would also be nice. Either one of them I think I'd be cool with. Adam Warlock would also be cool, with or without the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't really care. I think Adam Warlock would be nice. We got Elektra. That's just to make sure that everybody from the Defenders and that have been involved in the Defenders is here. And Elektra, I think, would be a nice street level martial artist that can kind of round everything out. Shang-Chi, obviously, we gotta have, if we're gonna have somebody like Iron Fist, we gotta have Shang-Chi. I would love to have Shang-Chi specifically if he had kind of like a Bruce Lee kind of sort of fight style, especially since he's got his nunchucks as his weapon of choice. I think that would be kind of different. That would kind of differentiate him from Iron Fist, because Iron Fist also does kung fu. Iron Fist, you know, obviously his powers are more with his glowing fists, and Shang-Chi has more of an all-around martial arts capacity. But I think it would be great, like, as a way to differentiate them. Shang-Chi uses more of a Jeet Kune Do fight style, and then Iron Fist uses more of a traditional kung fu fight style to kind of round them both out. And then, of course, the Mandarin. I think it would be interesting to have somebody with the 10 rings in the game. I think that could add a variety of different buffs and different things, especially him as like an assist character. I think he would be pretty interesting because he can add either different buffs or debuffs to the enemy and buffs to the allies. He could definitely be like a game changer, like a buffing type of support character. I think that'd be cool. And we got the Silver Samurai. I'm closing it out with the Silver Samurai because I think that since this game is made by a Japanese developer, I think that it would be kind of like homage and celebratory for them to put in a staple that has been in the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise, as well as just a celebration of the Land of the Rising Sun. So I think that having this character would be nice for the developers to kind of put their own stamp on everything, which, I mean, they've been already doing with some of the with Iron Man and some of the other characters, the designs and the art style of the game. They've already been doing that, but I think it would be kind of nice to just have somebody in the game that's actually from Japan to be kind of the representation of the devs in this case. So that's pretty much it. I think that's the whole thing. So thank you so much if you've made it this far into the video. I didn't want to spend too much time talking about this. This is just something that I wanted to do and kind of give my ideas on characters that could be in the game. There's probably many of you that would want other characters, completely different characters. Maybe y'all don't want anybody from what I put on the list, and that is absolutely fine. That is okay. I'd love to hear in the comments different characters that you guys would want in the game, because I could have put, you know, other Ghost Riders in here. I could have put other X-Men in here. I could have put other other, Avengers in here, different things. There was just so many options. Marvel has so many characters, it's not even funny. And I'm pretty sure they're going to want more well-known characters, but they're probably not going to shy away from the unknown or the obscure characters. So that's kind of why I went with the list that I did. So yeah, so y'all be safe, have a good time, and catch you later.